Clinton Raceway, home of the Kin Pace. That's where we are today for another edition of COSA-TV. And we've got a great afternoon. Mother Nature certainly cooperating here in Clinton. As you can see, not the warmest of Sundays in July, but very comfortable. 19 degrees Celsius is our temperature. The wind doesn't appear to be much of a factor. And the track, well, we know this, it is lightning fast. And welcome to our infield broadcast location, and welcome to another edition of COSA-TV. My name is Mark McKelvey. In the pilot seat today, our usual host, Greg Blanchard. Well, he's south of the border, contributing to the Meadowlands and their coverage throughout their championship meet. So we'll hold down the fort, and who better to join me than a veteran of our COSA-TV broadcast? With me on the desk is Robert Reed Jr. And Robert, thanks so much for joining us here today. Get to be in the analyst role, a role you're very familiar with, and we've got a good afternoon coming up.
Oh, it is. You know, I love the Kin Pace. I love Clinton Raceway, and nice to be here at the desk too, right? Usually doing the interviews, but no, I'm excited to be here. And you mentioned comfortable. I'm thankful for that, because usually it's basically like you're on the sun when you're in Clinton Raceway. And the first time I came here, bit of a disaster, no sunscreen, no nothing, and I learned the hard way. So today is absolutely perfect. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, we're going to hope. You know, they say there's three weather conditions here in Clinton. There's hot, rain, and hot again. And today, well, we didn't exactly get any of that. Mother Nature's cooperating, like I mentioned off the top. The rain, I know I drove through a little bit trying to get here, but hasn't really been a factor all day long, and right now it doesn't look like that's going to bother us as we go through the afternoon. We've got several races coming up as part of our coverage, and we have one more member of our broadcast team to introduce. Joining us today is Tony Elliott. Tony is standing by over in the paddock area.
Take the warm-up horse off the track, please.
Thanks a lot for introducing me there, Mark. Obviously, this is one of my favorite days of the year, being a regular at Clinton Raceway, and obviously I've worked here for the last couple of years. But we have, like you mentioned, we have a great four-pack coming up. We have some horses trying to get back on the right track. Obviously, numbers of 500 last three, and then we go into two great grassroots events, and then obviously the headliner of the day is the Kin Pace final, going for just over $48,000. So I'm certainly excited. I'm sure you guys are, and you mentioned that the sun's just coming out, and it's starting to heat up on my end, but I'm glad you guys are enjoying the shade.
All right, Tony. Well, why don't you try your best to try and stay cool over there? I'm not sure you'll be able to. I know Tony was jacked up for today. Pretty sure he probably slept here at Clinton Raceway last night and was here bright and early. And it's been a good afternoon already, as Tony mentioned. OSS action to complement the Kin Pace, which is our feature event coming up in race 11 for Ontario sired 3-year-old fillies. But talking about those girls, how about so much more? She is Canada's pacing queen, and you know what? She deserves all the accolades she's getting, including her own limited edition collector card. And if you'd like to pick up one of those, well, it's very simple. Leave us a question or a comment on today's broadcast. Leave those on YouTube, Facebook, however you are watching. And if you leave a comment or question, you'll be entered into a draw to potentially take home one of these special collector cards of so much more. And I know you're a big card guy, Robert, so this has to be a pretty cool giveaway for you.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a coveted card. I know many people are looking to get this one. Limited print run of obviously, you know, the pacing queen, signed by James as well. You can't go wrong with that one. I'd get graded, right? I send it to PSA. Hopefully it comes back a PSA 10, but no, it's a big one, and I hope that you know, maybe I get an opportunity to get one of those autograph cards.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can track one down. But if you want to get one, make sure you leave a comment. All right, there's the housekeeping right off the top. Now it's time to turn our focus to the action. We're going to take our first time out of the afternoon. Stick around. Lots coming up from Clinton Raceway. You're watching COSA-TV.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine's new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online, offers the best online service available. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easily as 123 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To view the sales schedule, create your account, or learn more, visit www.preferredequineonline.com or call our sales team at 914-773-7777.
And welcome back to Clinton Raceway, COSA-TV coverage of the 2023 Kin Pace. We're getting set for our first contest here this afternoon. We're going to be showing you 4 races. Race number 8 is the first dash that we'll cover. It is an overnight event going for a purse of $4,000. There's a look at the field. It's going to be a field of 8 to go forward. Following this race, then we'll move into the stakes action with back-to-back OSS grassroots events before the Kin Pace in our finale. You know, one thing I love about Clinton Raceway, it was a little dusty in that last race. What they do here when the water truck goes out, they close the whole track. It just does one lap around there, covers it all. Kind of unique. You like seeing that at those small tracks. And you know what? The small tracks, they've got their charm. And so too does the town of Clinton. And looking at some of those facts right there, Robert, this is a neat little part of Ontario.
Oh, it is, absolutely. I love coming up here, and some of the facts are home of radar, the RC Royal Canadian Air Force Communication Hub during World War II. Population of just 3,200, but I mean, certainly seems like more than that when you're here on Kin Pace Day, doesn't it? I mean, they're packed always. And birthplace of Stanley Cup champion Ryan O'Reilly. Played for my Buffalo Sabres for a few years. Didn't have as much luck there, but now, of course, with the Maple Leafs, and you know, a captain that certainly has done good things in the NHL.
He certainly has, and I know he's come back into this area. He's a local hero who they're very proud of. Another person who you could be considering a local hero, especially for those out in the Maritimes, is the reigning 2-time Canadian Driver of the Year. That is James McDonald. He had a big win last night. He's hoping for another big one here this afternoon, and he is standing by with Tony Elliott.
When you are ready.
I'm here with driver James McDonald. James, before we jump into this afternoon's action, obviously you're driving the Kin Pace. We're just going to have to touch on your Colt Hasty bid. Obviously a big win last night in the gold final, but many wouldn't know unless they looked at his past lines. His first start was here at Clinton Raceway in the grassroots event. So just take us through his journey and obviously the excitement that went on last night.
Yeah, last year it was his first start of the year, a lot of excitement. Unfortunately, things didn't go our way in Clinton, just a lot of traffic and 3 deep, I think, most of the last half. But he raced well that day, and thankfully it was just kind of the start of something really special, and he's been improving every start, and last night he finally put it all together and stuck his nose out first and won the OSS Gold.
Yeah, obviously that's pretty exciting with $159,000 on the line with just the one division there. You guys are obviously excited what goes on the rest of the year with him, and we certainly wish you luck with him. But let's jump over to the final this afternoon. Obviously you're driving Dakota Shadow from the rail, fairly inexperienced with just 4 starts, and your first time in the bike with this filly. What do you know about her, and what are your thoughts just coming in from the rail?
Well, I know last week she was a little scrambly, so I think they made a couple of equipment adjustments, and hopefully we have her pacing as good as she can today, and that way I can do my thing, try and find a good trip for her and just do everything I can to try and get as much as we can and hopefully get it all. But yeah, as far as I know, she's been finishing well, and yeah, I hope the trip works out today. Hopefully she feels good, and hopefully we can end up in the winner's circle at the end of the race.
Yeah, for sure, and obviously from the rail is a good starting spot, and we certainly wish you luck, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Tony, and good to hear from James McDonald. It feels like everything he's touching over the last couple of years is turning to gold. We'll see if he can capture another Kin Pace. He's been in this winner circle before. Here's a look at the field for race number 8. There is the group that is going to go forward, a group of 8 as mentioned, so we'll see one from the second tier. Doug McNair, maybe he can work his magic with the 8. Kiss it better. We'll elaborate more on this race in just a moment, Robert, but quickly before we head into break, I just wanted to touch on James McDonald. I mean, you are a public handicapper, but at the same time, it's hard not to root for a guy like that, so personable and just having so much success. He's got the hot hands.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I was actually took my dad to the Mohawk Park for eliminations for the NA Cup in the dining room, and of course James came around and made the rounds in his suit on that occasion, and my dad was marveling at the ambassador that he is for this sport, right? So something that, you know, maybe we didn't have as much yesteryear in harness racing, and now we have it today. So just incredible stuff. You can't help but cheer for him. And hard to go against him. Writing the Horse Players Journal, every night at Mohawk Park, very difficult to side against James McDonald.
James was joking to me earlier today. He only won 4 races last week. That was a quiet week for him. I'm sure he'll probably pick it up next week. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get you set for race number 8 here from Clinton Raceway.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with hpibet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to hpibet.com to join for free today.
And welcome back to COSA TV. We're nearly set for race number 8 as the horses and drivers will be exiting the paddock in just a moment. Happy to take you inside the paddock here at Clinton Raceway as we get a nice up-close and personal view at the horses that will be competing this afternoon. Once again, we want to hear from you throughout today's broadcast. Make sure you leave us a comment, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube. I noticed somebody who's not usually in the comments, but they are this afternoon. That is our regular host, Greg Blanchard. He is tuning in from Lindenhurst, New Jersey. Looking forward to a great show, and I see he's already interacting with some of our usuals. Andy Carnegie, JD Varnell. Good to hear from you fellas as well on this Sunday afternoon. We hope you're enjoying your Sunday afternoon and you're nice and comfortable just like we are for today's action. We got a field of 8 getting set to go in this afternoon's 8th contest. And one thing I like to look at, Robert, on days like today, you get some of the top drivers from Woodbine Mohawk Park coming in, and they don't just drive in the stakes races. They'll drive in some of the overnights, and I always like to look at that as a potential handicapping angle, and I'm sure that's probably the same for you.
Oh, you definitely have to take notice, right? I mean, even Bob McClure earlier on the card picked up a catch drive, one that he wasn't named on. Full Horse was a winner, an impressive one at that too. So you always got to take a look. But you know what? The guys that drive here locally, they don't give an inch, right? I mean, that's what's so great about racing here at Clinton is that when the big boys come from Mohawk Park, I mean, it's a horse race every time. So, but again, you can't ignore the guys like Doug McNair, James McDonald, Bob McClure. Each and every race, you've got to take note of them.
You certainly do. I look earlier on the card. Driver Preston Shaw already picking up 2 wins here today. He's one of the hardest workers. He's going in the mornings, finding his way to all the tracks across Ontario. And on a day like today, he said it to me, you got to take no prisoners, and he certainly did that, picking up 2 victories. So the horses will get their cue in just a second from the paddock judge to head out here for race number 8. Continuing to take a look at some of the comments that are being left. Hello to Denise, hello to Michelle. They're tuning in as well. One question that already popped up, and might as well talk about this right now. We're focusing on the racing, the great racing in our province, and one of the best horses over the last year and a half has been Stockade Sealster. Robert, I know you probably checked out the Meadowlands Pace eliminations last night. Unfortunately, he made a break quickly. What did you think of that? It was too bad to see it. He got disqualified, doesn't make the final. A little heartbreaking.
Oh, definitely heartbreaking. He was loaded with pace, right? I mean, I don't know if he would have beat Confederate. I think he would have been second at worst to him. And then obviously moving on to the final, but now he won't be, sadly. But hey, you know what? At least he'll come back and have a real fruitful season in the OSS Golds.
Yeah, he certainly will. We saw him win a gold last Saturday night on Canada Day at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Got the job done, and last night he just looked pumped up. It would have been fun to see what he could have delivered in the stretch had he not made that miscue at the last turn. Really feel for him and driver Jody Jamieson in that situation. Won't get the chance to wave the Ontario and Canadian banner come next Saturday in the lucrative Meadowlands Pace. All right, it's time for the post parade for this afternoon's 8th race. Condition contest for a purse of $4,000. We'll meet the field in just a second as you see them making their way out. And here's the one, Dalliator. This 9-year-old gelding goes for Greg Dustin. He's the trainer driver, looking for his first win of the season. 0 for 15. Last year he went 1 for 29. Doesn't get to the winner's circle too much, but he's got a good starting spot here today.
All right, and there's the 2 Township Willie for Travis Henry and trainer John Kennedy. 16 lifetime victories, 4 for 16 this time around. In for the optional claim, you take $8,500.
The 3 will be Hurricane King Carlo, and this is going to be a horse going for the connections of James McDonald on the bike and trainer Cam McQueen. Usually a pretty good combo when they team up when James makes the tour to some of the smaller tracks. We'll see if Hurricane King King Carlo can deliver, he's the even money favorite.
The 4 Lady and Laces scratch, so we'll go to the number 5, Southwind Maritime. This one has 12 lifetime victories. 0 for 4 this season, just lightly raced so far. Fifth start back off a layoff, and one that's outsider looking in this contest.
Number 6 will be Treasure's Gem, and there is a peek at this 5-year-old mare. Paul McKenzie driving for trainer Eric Wilson, owner Donald O'Scheid, and this is a horse with just 1 win in her career, 0 for 20 last year, 0 for 18. You'd love to see it rain on a dry spot here on a day like today.
All right, next up we got the 7 Fernhill Breeze for Ryan DeRoche and trainer Bruce Goit, and this 40-time winner has over 200,000 made. Definitely the class of the field. Not finding the winner's circle as of late, but maybe today he'll change his luck.
And from the second tier will be the 8 Kiss It Better. Doug McNair is at the controls for Team Kerr. 0 for 6 this season. A 5-time winner last year, comes in off a 3-race streak of 4th place finishes. Would love to bump that up. We'll see if Doug McNair can find the perfect way around from the second tier. So there's your group. As mentioned, a scratch at number 4, Lady and Lace, brings us down to a field of 7. Even money favorite right now is the 3 Hurricane King Carlo. Robert, looking at this race, who do you consider to be your top pick?
Well, I'm going to be a chalk-eating weasel, I guess, Mark, because the 3 Hurricane King Carlo for me, right? You mentioned it, right? To the barn of Cam McQueen, off the claim, J-Mac aboard, loaded with early speed, and I love looking for the horses that have that optional claiming tag. And races like this, usually for horses, not where there's a 500 last 3, horses that are down on their luck right now. So what horses aren't down on their luck? One that won last time out and is carrying that claiming tag. So Hurricane King Carlo for me, I think really the game plan's got to be to go to the front and just make a few left turns and find your way to the winner's circle. So again, even money, nothing too appealing about that, but I don't think they beat him in here.
There's a look at the horse that I selected on top, that being the 2 Township Willie, another one in for the tag. John Kennedy, Hanover resident, does pretty well there. Comes over to Clinton on some Sunday afternoons and has done that the last 2 times with Township Willie, and both times had to start from the second tier. So some traffic certainly in his way. Today, a much better starting spot. Similarly, I don't expect he's going to be the one on the front. I'm sure that's going to be your top pick, the 3 Hurricane King Carlo, but I'm hoping maybe it's just that 2-hole ride. He's the second choice. Again, not the most appealing prices on the board right now, but I thought maybe he could get the job done in this contest. So there's the one that I'm going to use as my top selection. If you had to go through this race and find somebody else in there, maybe a little bit of a value play, one that you could see getting into the mix, where would you look?
Probably Fernhill Breeze, right? Just that back class, first of all. I mean, no one else in the race even close to 200,000 lifetime, 40 lifetime victories. Obviously, post 7's a difficult spot, but last 2 in for a higher price tag. So if the trip works out somehow for Fernhill Breeze from out there, I think that certainly can be a big-time player. And in races like this as well, I mean, we're seeing horses that are both, geldings, or colts and geldings versus the mares, right? So I'll typically side with the boys. I mean, and he's got that going for him as well. So 9-year-old back class, again, he's the one. If you're saying, you know what, I don't like these 2 favorites, that's the direction I go in right now at 8-1.
See right there on your screen right now is the 5 Southwind Maritime. Daryl Deason will drive that one, and had a great afternoon here last Sunday. He had 4 winners. He was back to the winner's circle yesterday at Hanover. He's a little bit of a traveler, I guess you could say. You never know where he might pop up across North America, involved in the rodeo, then into harness racing. A pretty unique story, and I know a lot of people root him on. He's had to overcome some challenges and some injuries, and it seems, as he's been driving a little more regularly once again this season, he's starting to get the ball rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, and he's a fantastic guy to speak to as well, right? Very well-spoken and kind with his time as well for us handicappers. I love that, right? If I ever have a question about a horse he's driving or one that maybe got in trouble last time, he's always willing to answer my questions on those ones, and someone I always wish continued success for. Again, Southwind Maritime for me in here, it's tough for me to side with one that's now got to face boys, but certainly in decent form, right? Hitting the board in each of her last 2, made a break 2 back, but should be getting things under her feet again. Just 4 starts so far this season.
All right, so the starting gate is about to move into position. They're just doing their last touches on the track, and a couple that were warming up will head off. Just taking a peek at some of our comments. Hello to Megan tuning in from Newmarket. Also going to send a hello out to JD Varnell. JD doesn't miss an episode of COSA-TV, and he's always keeping us up to date on what is happening, usually across North America. Today he's got his focus on what's happening at Harris, Philadelphia. So, hey, there's your Grand Circuit man. He certainly keeps you up to date. Once again, if you want to get in for the draw to win so much more collector's card, make sure you do leave us a comment. All right, we're set for our first of 4 races here this afternoon on COSA TV as the group of Pacers are being called in. The track announcer here at Clinton Raceway is Tim O'Connor, and he'll have the play-by-play. All right, so a little bit of difficulty. We can't check in with Tim, but hey, we can call the race ourselves. And the first shot's going to be fired by Hurricane King Carlo. That one is heading out to the early lead. James McDonald firing it out to a quick 3-length advantage as they move into the backstretch. Getting away in second, Travis Henry lands second with Township Willie. Then we'll back up into third as landing in that spot is Dalliator. 2 more lengths back to Southwind Maritime, who's in fourth. About 8 lengths from the front in fifth is the second-tier starter Kiss It Better. Then it's Treasure's Gem, and last of all is Fern Hill Breeze. They went past the opening quarter, and Hurricane King Carlo fired out of there, now settles on the lead, and they're all at the mercy of Hurricane King Carlo and James McDonald. 2-hole trip here for Township Willie as they come into the stretch for the first time. Then back in third, that is Dalliator, and now out from fourth, we start to get a little bit of movement. Daryl Thiessen moves Southwind Maritime first up. Catching cover on that one's back will be Kiss It Better down to the inside. That is going to be Treasure's Gem, and rounding things out is Fern Hill Breeze, who stacked up. So it's going to be 4 in, 3 out as they go into the third turn. And the leader continues to be Hurricane King Carlo, up front by 1.5 lengths. Second has been Township Willie, getting a dreamy 2-hole trip. Dalliator might be able to shake free now as that first up advancer, Southwind Maritime, no longer advancing, is backing up, and that's going to force a 3-wide move at the back from Fern Hill Breeze. But it's still Hurricane King Carlo, who starts to open up a little bit, leads it by nearly 2. Township Willie is certainly in the hunt. Dalliator is still in the battle third. Fern Hill Breeze has had to go wide up the backstretch and is now up into fourth. Digging in along the pylons is Treasure's Gem, and then in between horses is Southwind Maritime. But as they come to the top of the stretch, the leader continues to be Hurricane King Carlo, looking to go all the way. Township Willie back in second. Hurricane King Carlo, no doubt about it, is the winner. Second was Township Willie, third was Dalliator, and finishing in fourth, it was tight between Treasure's Gem and Southwind Maritime. So race number 8 goes to the favorite, Hurricane King Carlo.
Yeah, just a dominating victory there, Mark, from Hurricane King Carlo, James McDonald, Cam McQueen. We talk about those, that connection, and one that was going to probably prove positive in here. Off the claim for Cam McQueen, who's been having a fantastic season, and really, I mean, the lineup that we expected. Right, I got to say too, by the way, how about that on the fly there? I mean, you've been doing an incredible job, keeping the seat warm for Ken Middleton right now, sidelined, but unreal that you just sprung into action there.
We got through
and
it.
A perfect race call.
Well, when there's not a whole lot of action up front, it makes it a little easier to track where everyone was. And hey, sometimes we can map out how a race is going to play, and it plays just like that. In this case, it did. That doesn't always happen. But Hurricane King Carlo, it was certainly one thing on the mind of James McDonald: to the front, don't look back. And hey, I like the 2 Township Willie in here, but I just needed the 3 to not have as much in the tank as he did here today. I mean, they sat 1-2 like we thought. Was hoping the better price might be able to click on by. Doesn't play out, but to your point, Hurricane King Carlo, James McDonald, Cam McQueen, that's a duo that I'm always looking for on days like today.
Oh, absolutely. And, like I said, to the optional claiming tags, right? Horses that have been winning, horses that are feeling good about themselves versus ones that are getting into the condition because they have not. Something that, when I'm playing the B tracks, whether it be, doing the broadcast at Grand River or Western Fair, I'm always looking for.
So Hurricane King Carlo making the way towards the winner's circle here at Clinton. Some happy connections also making that march. And for James McDonald, we heard from him already. Now he's got a win under his belt on the afternoon. I was teasing James. He was actually late today, and he did not make his first drive in the second, so he needed to get a little redemption. He does there with that victory, and the crowd on hand, which is a good crowd here today, Clinton, hovering around the rail, get a peek at our Race 8 winner. So there is Hurricane King Carlo. And there are the details of the connections. Congratulations. They'll certainly celebrate a little later on this Sunday evening. But we can't celebrate just yet. We still have 3 races to go on Kin Pace Day from Clinton Raceway. Up next will be race 9, as now we get into some stakes action, our first of 2 OSS grassroots events that we'll be bringing your way. We'll have the payouts and tee up the 9th race on the other side of this break.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
Hi, I'm Brittany Kennedy, and I'm racing Steady As We Go in the Kin Pace today at Clinton Raceway.
Steady as we go, getting euchred is hanging on.
Having her brother, who is Cheddar, and she is an all bets off, there is some similarities between the two of them. She's a lot more laid back than he is. He's pretty high energy, but they're both good on a half, and she handles the turns a little slicker. Probably she's a little bit smaller than him, so she handles the tight turns pretty good. Not really an early game plan going into the race. The 7-hole was definitely not what we were hoping for in the draw. Unfortunately though, she is experienced with having the 7 or the 8. She's been very lucky the last few weeks, had the rail, so she made very good use of it and cut the mile and got a 2-hole trip in the elimination. But we'll have to just see how the race sets up. Drivers are a very tough decision to make in the summer. There's a lot of tracks going, there's a lot going on for everyone. Her regular driver is Garrett Rooney. He helped develop her, raced her last year as a 2-year-old and has done a great job with her. However, he must stay at Dresden for the weekend. And we were lucky enough to have Ryan Holiday driver in Hanover. That was a really special win. But yeah, this week we ended up with Jonathan Drury, and I'm sure he's up for the task and will do his best from the 7-hole to overcome. So in the elimination, things didn't go exactly perfect for her. Tyler Moore gave her an excellent drive, got her off the wings perfectly, got a nice 2-hole trip, but it was the first time that she has raced on a really muddy track. We weren't anticipating that much rain in the forecast, so she had flip-flops on. And she actually lost one of her flip-flops going to the half and really tore her walls of her feet apart. So we've made the decision to switch to just straight aluminums this week. And she also had an issue with her tail with the mud. She got bogged down pretty well. So it'll probably be tied this week, but she raced terrific to finish second.
Great to hear from Britt Kennedy as she sends out Steady As We Go in this afternoon's Kin Pace. We'll have more on that race in just a little bit, but let's check out the prices from this afternoon's 8th race, where Hurricane King Carlo was the winner. $4.10, $2.50, $2.70. That $2 exacta, pretty formful exacta, paying $7.20. But hey, we could have been all over that one and threw down a few more bucks, and you never know. But there are the payouts. So race number 8 is in the books, and coming up next will be race number 9, Ontario Sire Stakes grassroots contest for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings. You know, this group always deep. They go some big miles. You know, today in this day and age, the grassrooters, they're going 49 at Woodbine Mohawk Park in midsummer. Now we change things up and they come here to the half-mile oval. Yep. For yourself as a handicapper looking at this group, Robert, I know some of these horses, if you saw them on the big track, you'd say, hey, there's a slam dunk. But do you start to look at some of the horses that maybe fly under the radar by coming here to a half-mile oval?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's kind of the great equalizer, right? Two things happen. Number one, will they be able to handle the surface? Yep. The second thing is that what post will they have, right? So post position plays a huge part in racing on a half-mile surface, and obviously if they can just get around, that's a big question too. And sometimes you have horses that haven't raced over the short track, and you kind of have those question marks going into the contest. But you're right. I mean, the miles they go now in the grassroots, it used to be the easy spot to get down to. Not so much anymore. Now that's the Prospect Series, but you see some good miles there in the Bees too.
Yeah, we have 3 levels now in the Sire Stakes, and what we're starting to notice is that Prospect Series comes in, and it was just for that real bottom group, it sort of felt. Now that's almost becoming what the grassroots was of, the days in the past. The Gold is really just that elite level, and you can look as clear as tomorrow night and Tuesday night at Woodbine Mohawk Park. The days of the first Gold for 2-year-old pacers having 3 divisions, those are gone. Just 2 divisions. I'm sure they'll be flooded with entries for those grassroots contests for those first legs. I guess everybody essentially wants to see where they stack up first. You used to do that in the Gold. Now it seems you do that in the grassroots.
Yeah. I think for the betterment of the horse, though, too, right? A lot of the guys want to kind of see what they have and not want to, use their horses up so much at the Gold level. I mean, it's like you said, right? The Gold level now is just elite, top of the pack horses. So again, grassroots, you're going to see lots in there, and then we sort it out. Do they go down to the Prospect Series? Do they step up to the Gold? But it is really a real contentious division now.
There's been a lot of real top-notch horses over the last few years that started in the grassroots before making that jump. And we got a good group competing here today in our grassroots contest, races 9 and 10. But coming up in race 11, the Kid Pace. It's our main event. Our feature here today, and the man that'll be driving the favorite, I Am a Doll, is Tyler Borth. He's having a wonderful year, and he's standing by with Tony Elliott.
I'm here with driver Tyler Borth. Tyler, obviously things are going very well for you this season. Just take us through what the difference was between the couple seasons ago and now. Obviously things are taking off for you.
Yeah, last year was a career year for me, and sometimes you don't think you get any better, and then roll around into January and it's just picked up right where it's left off. So yeah, I can't complain at all. I'm very happy.
Yeah, and part of that has been your connection with John Pentland. Obviously, you drove for him before, and now you're one of his key guys on all circuits in Ontario. So that certainly has helped you out, and certainly has helped you pick up the drive in the Kin Pace final here with I'm a Doll. She looked like to be the easiest of winners last week and likely favorite going into the final this afternoon. Just take us through last week and obviously what your thoughts are going into the final today.
Yeah, first off, I love driving for John Pentland. He always brings his horses. They got a nice mouth on them. They're good gaited, and they usually have a shot, so that always helps. Yeah, I'm a Doll. She's a sweetheart. She has a very nice mouth. She's fast. You can do whatever you want with her. Last week she was good. I find her better off a helmet, but then I didn't know I was going to have 57 last week. The track was very heavy, so she actually raced really well. So not sure what the plan is yet, but yeah, I think she's got a real good shot at it.
Yeah, you certainly do, and we certainly wish you luck, and thanks a lot for taking time to hang out with us this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tony.
All right, good to hear there from Tyler Borth. I'm a Doll is the morning line choice in the Kin Pace. Not to tip your hand yet, Robert, but looking ahead, you have to love their chances in this afternoon's main event.
Yeah, you have to. And, Tyler Borth, right, how far he's come. Last year on this day, he was driving the 7-hole, like a 60-1 shot. This time around, morning line favorite, the one to beat, and the horse has been just in fantastic form as of late. So for me, I can't go against her, but we'll get to those picks later.
Yeah, we will check that out when we do get to race number 11. I'm a Doll. By the sounds of it, Tyler's saying she lives up to her name. She is just a sweetheart, and she'll look to get the job done in race number 11. Here is race number 9 next, though. That's an OSS grassroots contest for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings. Second leg of the season. A purse of just over $22,000 is on the line. There's Sounds Good, who is currently the 4-5 favorite here, comes in off of victories in 3 of his last 4 starts. 3 for 6 on the campaign. That last time out ended up coming up just short, finishing second. Team McNair, always so profitable in the Sire Stakes each and every year. Doug McNair last night awarded his colors. He's going to be heading off to represent Canada at the World Driving Championship next month. That takes place in Europe. It'll be interesting in August not to see Doug in action there for that week at Woodbine Mohawk Park, but perfect representative for Canada one of our best.
Yeah, absolutely. So competitive too, right? With Dougie, I mean, he's in it to win it every time he goes behind the gates. Can't wait to see him representing Canada.
We will look forward to that. I know he's pretty jacked up for the trip, and why wouldn't you be? Going to check out some pretty cool spots as well. Some spots I'm not sure he's actually even traveled to, so he's pumped up for that. And he's going to be looking for Sounds Good to deliver in this 9th race. Now, I go up and down this field. One horse that catches my eye is Palladium Hanover, the 4. A real tough effort last time out at Woodbine Mohawk Park, coming up just a nose short to Ike's Dream. I thought that was a big-time performance. I'm wondering if he can parlay that back into another one here today on the half-mile ovals. But what I found interesting was at the bottom of his lines, had a qualifier at Flamborough Downs, and a pretty good-looking one at that. So that gets me some confidence that he can get around the half.
Yeah, I think he can. There's no question about it. And you're right. That effort against Ike's Dream was incredible. Got beat a nose on the end of it, but what a form reference, right? Because Ike's Dream's already come back today to be successful over this surface and did so in dominating fashion.
There is a look at Palladium Hanover for Team Cullen. Good to see Travis was right back in the bike, involved in a spill on Pepsi North America Cup night in the Mohawk Gold Cup. You hate to see that anytime, but on a night like that, kind of did put a little bit of a damper on the festivities for a little bit. But reports are everybody's going to come out of it all right. Of course, Wheels on Fire was the horse that maybe got the worst of it, but by the sounds, he's on the comeback trail already, getting some great care, just like you would expect. And the one note I heard was when they took him in, had him examined at the University of Guelph at the Ontario Veterinary College, we knew he was big, but they got some measurements on this fella. He is one of the biggest standardbreds around. So probably took a toll on him what happened, but look forward to seeing him back. And on the other side of things, when it comes to our drivers, Travis, you couldn't keep him down very long. He was right back at it despite banging up his foot.
I was amazed by it. I really was. And I think others were as well. Couldn't believe to see him back so quickly. And I'm not even sure that he had clearance, right, from the doctors to come back. But, I mean, this is the time of year, right? These guys don't want to miss any drives.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time of year. A lot of these young horses coming out. A lot of big stakes races too.
So Travis was to drive Palladium Hanover. We won't see him here today. He's going to actually hand over the lines to Bob McClure. That's already worked out well today for One Connections. J.R. Plant was to drive Full Horse. Bob jumped in. Hey, they got to the winner's circle. All right, let's meet the field for race number 9, OSS Grassroots Contest. Number 1 is Big Dream Fella. Brett McDonald driving for trainer Wayne McGeen in Capers 3 stable of Nova Scotia. 1 for 7 on the season. Has competed in an OSS event already this year. Starts from the coveted rail starting spot.
The 2 is Shadow's Terror for Tyler Moore and Dr. Ian Moore. Dr. Ian Moore owns with partners. 3 lifetime victories. Just 1 for 8 this season, but certainly one that might be a speed threat on the inside of the gate.
We already talked a little bit about Sounds Good. That's number 3. Gelded Son of Better's Delight, owned by Michael and Sam Sergi. Greg and Doug McNair, the father-son combo. 3 for 6 this season. Has been red hot, this horse. And if you look back, raced in the Breeders' Crown of Limbs last year. Ended up being scratched, but was to race in that. And started this year in the SBOA. So they had some high hopes for him. He'll look to get another victory.
We touched on the 4 Palladium Hanover as well. You're going to have Bob McClure aboard for Jody Cullen. Missed by nose last time to Ike's Dream, but was a winner in the opening leg of the OSS Grassroots on June the 6th. Got up by a head over Shadow's Terror.
Tignanello is going to be the 5. Jonathan Drury for trainer Sean Stacy. Hudson Standardbred stable. This is their homebred, and all bets off Colt, who is winless this season in 4. Went 1 for 3 last year. Was lightly raced. Got shut down in early August. This season, yet to find his top form, but hoping to pull off an upset here today.
And a horse that's done no wrong so far in his career. The 6 better on ice, 4 for 3. No worse than second any of those efforts. Will pick up James McDonald in the driver's seat for the first time this evening for trainer Del Fritz, who's having a fantastic season, 10 for 29 with a 498 UTRS.
The 7 is going to be Liberty Royal, Travis Henry for trainer Vicky Gregg. 2 for 10 as a rookie at 5 top 3 finishes. Nothing really to show for it yet in 4 starts this season. Tough starting spot this afternoon, but we'll hope to pick up a piece.
And the trailing post for the 8 Matt's Gem. This would be a heck of a time to pick up his maiden victory. He's 0 for 11 in his life, but he's made just shy of $15,000, and he's hit the board in each of his last 3 and 3 of his last 5 overall. Austin Sawyer will be aboard for Marcel Barrio.
All right, that is the field for race number 9. We're going to kick off a pick 3 here, and we've got all 3 of those races coming up here on COSA-TV. There is a look at the 7 Liberty Royal. Was a little bit late getting out onto the track, so making their way down the hill and onto the racing surface. Travis Henry, very familiar, a leading driver here at Clinton Raceway over the last several years. Tough starting spot, however. They do go 7 wide here, as we mentioned. Post position number 8 starts from the 2nd tier. The breeze is kind of picking up right now. I'm not sure if it's just our broadcast location, but we are certainly feeling it. Now, let's focus on who the point leaders are coming into today. Here's a look at some of the top players in the OSS at the grassroots level, and some notables there because some of them not here today, raced last night at Woodbine Mohawk Park. So safe to say some of the trainers may be picking their spots.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, some trainers know that, the half-mile service isn't for their horse, right? And these sometimes are really contentious races, right? When they get here, there's not as much time for horse to get settled in on the pylon, so they usually end up racing pretty hard. We saw it earlier with Ahi Sunshine getting parked out, right? And that was a tough journey for that one.
And when you get a victory early on, though, and you get those 50 points, well, that's, money in the bank right there. You're set. You've already got that stowed away. You only have to be top 20 in the grassroots to get to the semifinals. Essentially, it's eliminations and a final. So once you get those points, you're in a good spot. You can kind of pick and choose. Of course, some of the races these horses race in outside of the grassroots go for very similar purses at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I mean, these are kind of regulars on that circuit nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It becomes a bit of a long season for them too, right? Because, like you said, the purses in between the starts are almost just as much as what they're racing for in the divisions. So, I mean, each and every night they're usually going to battle and against similar horses. I actually love the OSS Grassroots Starters races at Mohawk Park because typically, you get to get familiar with horses in there and you can find a trouble trip and maybe find one that pays a good price.
Want to give a shout out to a few more of our viewers tuning in today. Wade McCoy, of course, my good buddy Wade, telling me to expect the unexpected. Well, I certainly had to there with the call of race number 8, but I like the comment from Greg Blanchard, Robert. He thinks if we have some technical difficulties, which I've been assured we will not this race, you should jump in. You ever tried race calling?
Not yet. I'll give it, I'll practice a little bit first, and then maybe use some training wheels at a qualifier or something, right? Maybe I can fill in sometime for you in the qualifiers,
Perfect.
Right?
I wouldn't mind that.
We can see where that goes, but yeah, on the spot like that. What you did there, man, was watching a master at work. It was unbelievable, and the fact that you were able to pick up the horses that quickly. Again, it just shows how polished you are, sir.
I think that's the first time I called a race from the infield. I guess that's getting me prepped up for the jug or something like that, like the old days of the big judges stand in the infield. It's a unique vantage point, especially on the half-mile track. You see everything. You just keep turning in a 360. But as well, you mentioned it, having the opportunity to call some races right now at Woodbine Mohawk Park, not under the best of circumstances, of course. Our good friend Ken Middleton was involved in a training accident a couple weeks back now, and you hate to see it. Ken's such a good guy. He got pretty banged up, but he's on the comeback trail, and there's been a lot of well wishes sent along, and we want to extend ours. I know, I've sent Ken a message, so have many others, but we're rooting for him to get back up in the booth because we're going into a time of the season right now at Woodbine Mohawk Park that's just synonymous with the voice of Ken Middleton. So all the best to our buddy Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best in the business, right? I mean, bar none. He's incredible at what he does, and can't wait to hear him back.
All right, well, next is race number 9, and the starters beginning to move into position. I told you Tim O'Connor's in the broadcast booth up above the grandstand. This time, we are going to go to him. He'll have the call. OSS action. If you've got some money down on this race, best of luck with your wagers. 3 to 5 favorite is 3. Sounds good. Once again, we'll turn things over to Tim O'Connor.
They fall into line for race number 9. It's post time. The Ontario Sire Stakes turns into the lane. Here they come. They're off, and pacing sounds good. Leads quickly, grabs the early lead for Doug McNair. It sounds good around the far turn, following through with that inside position, but with a little miscue. Jumping off stride was Big Dream Fella. That'll leave Shadow's Terror in the pocket in front of Palladium Hanover. Taking over 4th along the inside, that is Better on Ice. Tignanello sees it from 5th. Matt's Gem is racing in 6th. Liberty Royal back pacing Big Dream Fella. Opening panel 28-1. Doug McNair and Sounds Good on the engine here in race number 9 as they roll by the Red Barn. Shadow's Terror has pocketed up in 2nd. Racing 3rd along the inside, Palladium Hanover. That one takes out now and leads the Overland Flow as they come by us for the first time. Followed to the outside by Better on Ice from 4th. Racing in 5th, that's Tignanello. 6 to the outside, Matt's Gem, Liberty Royal. They reach the opening half, 58 seconds flat. A leisurely 29-4 second panel for Sounds Good. Sounds Good on the outside. That is Palladium Hanover knocking on the door. Watching that action from third is Shadow's Terror. Off stride in the backfield went Matt's Gem. Sounds Good, Palladium Hanover, as expected, duking it out here in race number 9. 3/4 paced in 1:26 and 2. It Sounds Good to the inside, Palladium Hanover to the outside. Racing third is Shadow's Terror. They turn down the lane. Sounds Good, Palladium Hanover. Sounds Good, trying to take them wire to wire. Palladium Hanover getting leg worries. Oh, we had a miscue. We've had a miscue.
All right, we've had unfortunately an accident here in the stretch of race number 9. There is a loose horse. Driver Tyler Moore took quite the spill, but he is back up on his feet coming into the infield where he's obviously in a ton of discomfort. There is a loose horse though, and overshadowing what was a big time performance by number 3, Sounds Good. We're just gonna have to be on our toes here though. Robert?
Yeah, not sure where the loose
For over 25 years, Tara Hill Stud has worked with partners to help produce champion stallions. We are proud to have bred great racehorses like Fade Out, Shower Play, Precious Delight, and There's a Demon in Me. Our stallions, past and present, have had tremendous success while making a huge impact on racing across North America. Mr. Levesque, Mach 3, Cadabra, Muscle Mass, and Precious Bunny, to name a few. Our stallions' progeny have won major events, including the Hambletonian. Tara Hill Stud are currently standing 9 of the industry's top stallions. Alarm Detector, Control the Moment, Dance and Lou, Flanagan Memory, Green Manalishi, He's Watching, Muscle Mass, Resolve, and Sports Writer. Our facility is modern, our staff knowledgeable. Consider Tara Hill Stud when choosing a home for your stallion. Tara Hill Stud, where champions stand and champion yearlings are raised. Log on to terrahills.com.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine's new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online, offers the best online service available. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easily as 123 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To view the sales schedule, create your account, or learn more, visit www.preferredequineonline.com or call our sales team at 914-773-7777.
By now, you know the name COSA-TV, an industry leader producing unique, high-quality digital content promoting harness racing in Ontario. Features, virtual programming, live events, and more. COSA-TV has it covered. Follow our social media channels and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to view the latest content. And if you're looking to bet your favorite Ontario track, check out hpibet.com. COSA-TV, taking Ontario racing global.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
Welcome back to COSA-TV. We're just kind of assessing the situation here, and it looks like everyone's coming out of it relatively okay. Tyler Moore is getting assessed by paramedics, but he seems to be okay at first glance. But all the horses got up and they seem okay, so we're certainly glad that the situation is went over as well as it could have, and obviously our thoughts go out to everyone involved with that. It's never easy when that happens, and but the professionals took care of the situation, caught the horse as quickly as possible. As a result of the race, sounds good. Got the job done in this OSS Grassroots division. Obviously, the race wasn't the way we expected to, and certainly was unfortunate. But sounds good. Seemed to be the best in there, and got the job done. And congratulations to the connection of Sounds Good.
All right, everybody, we're back here at our broadcast location in the infield, and you see Tyler Moore being tended to by the paramedics heading back towards the paddock right now. Obviously, you never like to see that. Unfortunately, we really don't like to see that up close and personal right here, but we were able to get Tyler over to our set and got him into a chair quickly. And taking a look, Tyler telling us right now, obviously, how he's feeling. He's pretty banged up, pretty scraped up, but the first thing he said to me, don't think anything's broken, just really scraped up and in a lot of pain, as you would expect. Took quite a tumble there, but was able to get back to his feet and will be taken back for further examination. But a real downer on what was going to be a big effort, as Tony was mentioning, by Sounds Good. Unfortunately, accidents are part of the game, and it just shows you how tough the competitors are, because I can tell you right there, seeing how Tyler was in that shape, I'm not sure if I would have been as calm as he was.
No, these guys, I mean, they're tough as nails, right? No question about it. I mean, like you said, to be involved in that and be that scraped up, and hopefully Tyler's obviously going to be okay. Great guy too, right? Having a lot of success, Lawless Shadow as of late, so I definitely hope that he's going to be okay.
All right, so if we get any further updates throughout this afternoon's broadcast, we will be certain to pass those along. We will turn our focus in a moment to race number 10, but again, you hate to see something like that happen on a day like today. You don't want to see that any day, but just when we have a chance to showcase some of the best horses in our province, in our game, some of the top performers, it certainly brings everything into perspective, just how dangerous the sport is, and those out there certainly put their bodies on the line each and every afternoon or night when they go to action, and they do it because they love this game. So we're certainly pulling that Tyler Moore will get cleaned up there and certainly be all right, be back in the bike in no time. And also kudos to the folks that were able to catch the loose horse. In this case, that was Shadow's Tear. Did a few laps of the track, was coming through the infield here. Of course, how we're set up here, there's a lot of equipment and parts and desks here, Robert. So while some people were trying to run around, try and catch the horse again, we just want to make sure obviously for the safety of the horse, didn't end up coming into this area here because that could have been real bad. So we are going to try and get our focus back on today's action. As we mentioned, we have 2 races to go, and we've got our crew behind the scenes telling me that we can take a commercial break. So we're going to step aside, and when we come back, we will get you set for race number 10.
The racing is fast and exciting at the picturesque Woodbine and Woodbine Mohawk Park racetracks in Ontario, Canada. Woodbine Standardbred, home of the Pepsi North America Cup, a summer classic.
Pebble Beach in Iran.
And Woodbine Thoroughbred, home of the historic King's Plate.
But the mighty filly has devastated them.
Full fields, exotic wagers, iconic events. Play Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred today at your favorite wagering location.
As the industry's leading sales agency, Preferred Equine's new online sales portal, Preferred Equine Online, offers the best online service available. Developed by our experienced sales team, the powerful new platform with cutting-edge technology makes buying and selling easy from the comfort of your home or office over any device. Our experienced sales team offers full customer service for buyers and sellers as it relates to the collection, distribution, and transfer of the horses offered. Sellers can enter a horse as easily as 123 with a searchable database while allowing comments, photos, and other documents. Buyers can view live pedigrees, past performances, and race videos. To view the sales schedule, create your account, or learn more, visit www.preferredequineonline.com or call our sales team at 914-773-7777.
And welcome back to COSA-TV. Here are the payouts from race number 9. And I have to say, again, wasn't even sure what the official results were with everything that went on. But there they are there. 3, 5, 7, 1. Your top 4. Sounds good. The heavy favorite does come through. Goes all the way. Tignanello ends up being the second place finisher. Liberty Royal was third. Some good payouts again because you get some bigger prices landing in behind that favorite winner. But let's talk just for a second about the performance of Sounds Good. Exactly what we thought he might deliver, lived up to the hype.
Yeah, definitely did. Went to the front, proved to be much the best, right, on the engine, and he's a Battle of Waterloo champion, right? Last year, dominated in that race. So a horse I'm obviously fond of in my time at Grand River. So thinking he's going to have another fruitful season.
All right, coming up next is race number 10 as we just get our bearings back and take a look at our rundown. The 10th race is an OSS grassroots contest, the final division of the afternoon. You want to talk about heavy favorites. I expect to see another one in here. Robert, Ace of Aces. Here's a horse that is going to drop down to the grassroots for the first time. An OSS Gold competitor throughout, tried the Pepsi North America Cup eliminations, raced in a Grand Circuit contest last year. He was a finalist for the O'Brien Award. Just hasn't been able to find that same level this season. While others seem to have maybe taken a step forward, he's kind of stayed maybe flatline. But today could be the day to get that big confidence boost.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, right? Come down to the grassroots. And I mean, you don't often see horses that their last few races are gold and a Cup consolation and a Cup elimination. And I mean, really the only question that I have with Ace of Aces is how he's going to handle the half-mile surface, right? I mean, you're not really sure because of the fact that he's never done it before. But no reason why I don't think he can. Watching him warm up today, he looked pretty comfortable here at Clinton, so we'll see how he does, but I think he's going to be a price of the shortest variety.
I have to say I was a little curious, a little surprised to see him in here today. Not that I didn't think maybe the grassroots wasn't the spot he was going to have to go, but just the fact that he raced last Saturday in the gold at Woodbine Mohawk Park. This is only the second leg of the grassroots, so still 3 more to go. If you're just following along with the sire stakes and maybe not completely familiar, if you go in leg 1 of the gold, you can't be in leg 1 of the grassroots, vice versa. So last week was only leg 1 of the gold. So he was able to come right back here into leg 2 of the grassroots. So maybe the level they're going to stay at, we'll see. But maybe they just wanted to get this figured out. Let's get him to the winner's circle as soon as possible. Last year, the one thing that I really admired about him was his grit because he just hung in there. Some of the best horses would come in, some of the fastest 2-year-olds, and he was always in the hunt. Maybe not the most, camera friendly, doesn't get to the winner's circle too often, but usually right there this year he just seemed another step behind.
Yeah, that's I was going to say it, right? He won for 9 last season, but he was in it with some of the best horses, on the planet. And listen, I think that's got to be the game plan today, right? Get him into a spot where he can be a winner. Obviously, the post draw was favorable for him. He gets to work from post 2, and that confidence coming back to him, that's when they can make a decision. Do we want to just ride it out in the grassroots and maybe have a chance to be a boss of the division, or do we want to move back up to the Golds?
Now, it'd be remiss if we didn't mention Bob McClure is doing the driving. You just wonder if Bob's a little shaken up about what happened there in that last race. So we'll see how he's able to bounce back here in the 10th. We go through the rest of the field, and it's a pretty good field. Red Coin's one that stands out to me in here because I think he's got a lot of ability. Tough starting spot here today, but he's paced some pretty big miles.
Yeah, he has. He started off the season really strong, and then obviously recently, as you kind of win your way up the conditions, price of poker goes up, and Red Coin, has had a difficulty making those transitions, but he is one that I think that, if he ever could get on a helmet in here, he could be dangerous. I was always kind of impressed me with Red Coin is his kick when he gets a nice trip second over or third over. Might not be the best spot to be here at Clinton, but I do think he's one that you'd have to look at underneath. Maybe an upsetter if Ace of Aces doesn't take to the surface.
What do you make of the Moment of Rose, the 5, taking lots of support here early?
Favoritism early. I mean, it's hard for me to get there at really any kind of a short price on the Moment of Rose because we talked about Ace of Aces and kind of him not having the same success this season. Well, that's the same boat for the Moment of Rose, except he's actually racing against softer competition throughout. He's 0 for 7 this year after going 3 for 8 last year. I still remember him making a break in stride in the Battle of Waterloo. He was heavily touted in that one as well, but has shown he can perform well over the short track. So I thought that he was one that you have to like somewhere underneath in here, but 4 to 5, oof, that's too short.
So we got 4 minutes to post. Horses will be leaving the paddock in just a couple of moments. Obviously, they performed a little bit of track maintenance, just get everything back in order. It'll be late double time on this Sunday here on Kin Pace Day at Clinton Raceway. Our main event is coming up. Once again, we want to hear from you throughout this afternoon's broadcast. Leave your comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Our friend Garnet Barnsdale was chiming in just before that last race. He wants to see you in the announcer's booth too. I think you're going to have a lot of people pushing you up there, Robert.
I'll listen. We'll set a date. And we'll do it. Listen, Garnet Barnsdale's called some races, so he certainly has that on me. So I will have to catch up at some point.
We have some viewers tuning in on YouTube as well. Hello to Bird, Julie Jameson, and as well to Dale Ashton, who is tuning in. Let's take a look though at what leaving a comment may land you, and that is one of these collectible cards. So much more. She is Canada's pacing queen. I have to say, this is maybe my favorite photo in recent memory that Clive Cohen, our wonderful photographer locally here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, New Image Media does a fantastic job. Captured her coming down the lane earlier this season. She's in full flight, and I think that one is going to stand out for a while. Clive takes home a lot of those year-end awards. Usually it's more of the artistic type of shot, but this one right here just captures the pure brilliance of so much more.
Oh, it does. And a beautifully designed card too, right? I mean, for a guy that has way too many trading cards, and my wife is not happy about that, but I know Megan's watching at home. But no, the card is just a beautiful one at that, and so much more, by the way. How about the performance last night?
Yeah. She was really good there. And, last night in that Preferred 2 contest, taking on the boys again. We're in July now, and she's still taking on the boys. Usually we see that through the winter into the spring, the fall. Midsummer, I mean, she's still going to take on the boys, and she was just coming down the lane there through the center. Needed some daylight, might have been running out of racetrack anyways, but you could understand the approach James McDonald had to take with her last night. They went some big fractions up front, and she just kept on trucking. She is quite remarkable.
Yeah, you can never rule her out. Faces the boys more than any mare that I've seen anyways locally, and brings her A game pretty much every time she steps in the track.
You would love to see her just get that one signature victory if she could against those Grand Circuit mares. She's always in the hunt, just feels like she's always a length or two short in those races, but she gives such a good showing, and she's got such a big fan base here. Everyone's rooting her on. Now the Beatsons, they're enjoying this ride with her. They actually had a winner earlier today right here at Clinton Raceway. So from last night to today, a busy weekend for them, a successful weekend, and you'd love to see how long they will continue to enjoy the ride with her.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? You just have to own one like her, right? I mean, it makes the game all that much more fun, so much more. Just an incredible equine athlete.
So we're just getting an update on race number 11, the Kin Pace. There will be a driver change. Tyler Moore is going to come off his drive behind the 2 Deadly Delight. Anthony Hahn will now be the driver of that Rick Zeron trainee. So Anthony Hahn will drive the 2 Deadly Delight if you want to make that change. If you're following along, that'll come up in the Kin Pace. Again, a bit of a double whammy in this case for Tyler Moore, involved in a spill, and then not going to be able to drive later today in the feature event, where he had a horse that was certainly going to be a player. 7-2 on the morning line, 3rd choice, had a good post 2 starting spot. So best wishes to Tyler. And again, if we get any update throughout the afternoon, we will be certain to pass that along. So we're maybe running a little bit behind here today. Not entirely sure when they're going to get the cue to come on out onto the track. Looks like it is right now, and in a moment we will meet the field. Fourth and final division of the Sire Stakes here. We both probably believe this race is going to have to go through Ace of Aces, who's the current 3-5 favorite. I'm sure the betting board's going to start to even out a little bit as the Moment of Rose taking some early money. Maybe folks thinking that Team McNair will come back. One thing about Doug, he can get them off the gate just like that in the blink of an eye. Could be the kind of case here. Maybe just rolls this one out of here and says, let's just see how far we could go.
Yeah, and that might be the case today for sure, because this horse has shown early foot, early on in his career. And again, we're not sure that Ace of Aces can handle this half-mile surface yet, right? So, I mean, might be able to loop them early. I mean, that might be the game plan with the Moment of Rose. But again, off Lasix too, right? So maybe there's something there. I mean, a lot of angles are you jump on the Lasix first time or second time on that medication. Coming off Lasix too, I've seen horses do very good things.
Tony Elliott's over in the paddock area, and we will rely on him to see if he can get any more updates on what happened in race number 9 and see if he can pass those along in a little bit. Thanks to Tony for holding down the fort while we were obviously tending to the situation that was happening. So we're getting set for race number 10. $21,800 is our purse for this OSS event. There's a good look at the 6 red coin and the last starter just stepping out of the paddock right now. Time for the post parade. Let's meet the field for race number 10. Number 1 will be Scribblers. Scribblers goes for trainer Paul Reed. The driver is Jason Ryan. Scribblers is 2 for 6 this season, 2-time winner last year, hoping today from the rail can make something happen.
Number 2 is Ace of Aces. He'll likely be the heavy favorite come post time. Bob McClure aboard for Sean Stacy. This horse has made almost $285,000 in his career. Lots of success at 2, now looking forward to 3.
There's a look at Ace of Aces. His next door neighbor is going to be Delightful Leader. Melissa Lamoureux trains. Driver is Tyler Borth, a 5-time winner this season. That makes him the most successful on the campaign in this group. Trying to get something done. Here's one that started the season at the prospects level, so we'll come here to the grassroots, and there it is, that movement up the chart in the province.
And there is the 4 Boomtown Boy for Brett McDonald and Wayne McGeen, 2-time winner in his career, just over $15,000 in earnings, but both of his wins did come over a half-mile surface. He's one that will be a bit of a long shot in here today, but maybe get a piece.
We were talking about the support that the Moment of Rose was taking early on. Here is the 5. The Moment of Rose is a Control the Moment colt going for John Stamatis along with Joseph Ofriama and James Georgakopoulos. Greg McNair, Doug McNair trying to come back-to-back, 0 for 7 on the season, trying to get off the schneid.
And the 6 red coin, James McDonald aboard for Jeff Gillis. This horse got off to a great start to his sophomore campaign, has 3 victories and 11 tries so far this season. Has been, out of it as of late, but maybe can get back to it today from post 6.
And to complete the field, number 7 is the Golden Jet. Anthony Hahn and Meg Crone teaming up here with this Shadow Play colt. Was a winner last time out at Georgian, winning comfortably by 4 lengths, trying to make something happen this afternoon. Tough starting spot for the Golden Jet, but one that I think certainly you have to give a little bit of a look at just based off the fact that he's got some early speed and usually could be in the hunt. So there's the field of 7 for this afternoon's 10th race OSS Grassroots Contest. 3-5 currently on the 2. Ace of Aces. Robert, we've talked at length about Ace of Aces. Let's look at some of the others in this group. We know the Moment of Rose was getting some action early on, starting to drift up, and we expect that number to probably go up a little bit more. We've talked about Red Coin. How about some of the others?
For me, honestly, underneath, the one I was looking at, Mark, was the 1 Scribblers. Scribblers is 2 for 2 on a half-mile surface, and he's been in good form as of late. Last time, obviously, got a bit of a tough trip before fading back to 7th, but has been facing pretty good horses in his recent efforts at Grand River, and I think that all-important pole position might get him in the right spot early and get a big chunk of it.
Tony Elliott is standing by over near the paddock. Tony, let's bring you in here as we get set for the 10th race. I'm sure you've got some thoughts on how this one might go.
Yeah, before we get to that, it's just Tyler Moore's looking like he's feeling a little bit better now. He's up on his feet, and he's just a little bit of track rash or road rash, if you will. It's just a little stingy, but he seems to be okay, and nothing structurally, and just a little road rash, and it certainly hurts, but he'll definitely hurt a lot more in the morning. But for this race here, obviously we're all looking towards Ace of Aces. Obviously we'll see how he gets around the half here this afternoon, but he looks like the one to beat, and I'm sure you guys would likely agree with that.
Yeah, we certainly do. I've got him there, unless Robert's going to surprise me and take a flyer here.
No, I can't go against him. I mean, listen, just the drop down in competition, right? I mean, it is a huge step down in class for him. I mean, not to take anything away from the horses he faces today, but he's been going up against, the likes of Midnight Nation, Stockade Sealster, It's My Show. I mean, these horses are all absolute killers. So I think really it might just be a formality, Mark, as long as he does get around that opening turn.
Now, what's interesting to look at, I think, going forward in the Sire Stakes this season is small fields in the Gold last weekend, a couple of short fields there. We know who some of the standouts are. The question is, if you're one of these top grass rooters after this second leg, do you consider moving up? I mean, keep in mind, if you draw in a couple of short fields, it's a chance at some money. I mean, they were going for 100,000 last week in I think it was two 6-horse fields there. If it ends up being one big field, okay, now your chances of getting money are reduced a little bit. But if you take that move up, it might be worth a crack for some of these.
And we saw a big upset too, right? So I mean, Midnight Nation wins it at a bombs away price, and one that maybe didn't have the form of others. So I actually talked to Dave Neri about that on that night. Said Extreme, one that kind of figuring things out as he goes along here, and first season of racing, would you consider moving one like him up to the Gold? Well, after today's performance, I think that decision gets a little bit tougher, right? Because now he's got a couple of victories in the grassroots and certainly looking the part. But again, that jump to Gold is so difficult.
It certainly is, but maybe you do it mid-season because you can always come back down to the grassroots at this point, and maybe you can hang. There's a lot of good horses in our province, and we're going to see some of them right now. The starters moving into position for race number 10, our final OSS grassroots contest of the afternoon. Can Ace of Aces drop and pop? We'll find out in just a moment. We turn things over to Tim O'Connor.
Far outside the Golden Jet, Anthony Holland. We'll do it again in race number 10. It's post time. This field is now in motion, and here they come. They're off and pacing. Delightful Leader leads quickly in the middle along the inside, looking for that two-hole position. Ace of Aces also leaving well on the in-between horses. Now taking over second, The Moment Arose. Doug McNair driving right on to challenge for the lead. The Moment Arose grabs that lead, and out of third, up and at it early. Here comes Ace of Aces. Lots of early action. Ace of Aces able to tuck in behind The Moment Arose. That opening panel paced in 27-4. Racing in third position, the Delightful Leader. Off stride in the backfield went Scribblers. Fourth is the Golden Jet. Then we've got Boomtown Boy and Red Coin. They come by us the first time. The opening pair have some separation here. Doug McNair and The Moment Arose cutting out the mile here. Right there in second is Ace of Aces. Third along the inside, Delightful Leader. Up on the outside, Boomtown Boy takes over fourth in front of the Golden Jet. They pace the half in 56-4. The Moment Arose continues to show the way here as they head down the backside with 3/8 of a mile to go. Out of second and underway, here comes Ace of Aces, not content with the tempo. Ace of Aces goes zooming by and grabs the lead here as they roll by the 3/4. They reach that station in 1:26 flat. Late pace coming in the backfield from Red Coin. Ace of Aces shows the way. Here comes Red Coin up on the outside, taking over second. The Moment Arose backing out of it here. Down the stretch they come. Ace of Aces, Red Coin taking up the chase. Ace of Aces, large and in charge in race number 10. Bob McClure and Ace of Aces, 155-3.
Ace of Aces, just like we expected, does deliver. Last year an O'Brien Award finalist. The campaign hasn't started the way they'd envisioned, come down to the grassroots level, and does dominate. Gets the job done in 155-3. And didn't have to do the heavy lifting here, Robert. Just makes that move going to 3/4, and it was lights out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you just get away off the gate, right? Make sure you handle that first turn safely. And then you got a real nice two-hole trip behind the Moment Arose for most of that mile. Came around with ease, and I mean, huge for his confidence, right? I mean, this horse has already been a bit camera shy in his career. He's going to feel good getting this victory in the grassroots, and now one that they can decide: do we want to maybe be the boss of the grassroots, or do we want to go back up to the Golds?
The one thing for Ace of Aces is he'll be eligible to, I'd imagine, a race like the Simcoe later on. So there's probably some racing opportunities later in the year. But if you stay here, just have a nice run of success, keep that confidence level up. Maybe eventually he does go back to the Grand Circuit level and gets back to where we saw him last year, where he could really hang with some of the best in our sport. So it's a good victory here this afternoon for Ace of Aces, and something tells me there'll be a pretty good group in the winner's circle as well. He is co-owned by Landmark 15 Racing Stable. Landmark Racing, another one of those groups trying to bring people into the sport, finding those unique and easy ways. A very simple process. Howard Pierce is at the helm. Howard will always take the time of day to talk to you about Landmark, and essentially you put down your deposit for each season. They go out, they get pieces of different yearlings, they train down at 2, they get them to the races, they'll race them at 2 and 3. A decision will be made after, but you just give that money to start. And that pretty much will carry you through for 2 years, barring any unforeseen circumstances. You've got a piece of this horse, and Landmark has done a great job really promoting the sport in recent years, and should say more than recent years. I think now, this horse is part of Landmark 15. Landmark 16 horses are coming out, so they're having a nice run.
Yeah, and I was talking to some of the part owners of this one earlier in the grandstand, and they were super excited to be here, and they said the experience has just been incredible for them, right? You get an opportunity to own a piece of a horse like Ace of Aces, right? Has had tons of success, and now look at that winner's circle. Lots of people out there enjoying this victory.
Certainly, and I know one of the members of the Landmark group, good buddy of mine, Fred Wallace. He's the voice of sports up in Owen Sound. Always liked the races casually. He used to contribute as the MC out at Hanover Raceway for many, many years, and one day he told me, hey, I'm in on some horses, and I said, how? Hey, he got connected with Howard Pierce, and there you go, all part of it. So they're having a nice run, and good to see Ace of Aces get to the winner's circle. All right, we'll have the payouts, but before we can get to that, we're going to take a timeout. Once we come back, as mentioned, we'll wrap up race number 10. We'll take a look at the payouts, and we'll get you set for the main event. Coming up next, it is the Kin Pace. Don't go anywhere. You're watching COSA-TV.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
All right, here's a look at the payouts from race number 10 as we're back on COSA-TV. Ace of Aces, the popular winner, 250, 210, 210. That exact red coin, I liked him. I thought he'd be a player here. Did finish second. It pays $11.90. There's the rest of the payouts for this afternoon's 10th contest, our first half of the late double. And that means coming up next, it's the finale. It is the Kin Pace. And it's time to take a closer look at one of the top contenders here in the Kin.
I'm John Pentland, and I'm the trainer of I'm a Doll.
I'm a Doll and Shaka duking it out here. I'm a Doll will not be denied.
Last year, she just got some really bad trips. Towards the end, the grassroots final, she got away really poor, and it was slow fractions up front. So I expect her to have a decent year this year, but I'm still pleasantly surprised what she's doing. Alan sent me a Better Than Cheddar filly a couple years ago. It was my first contact with him. Really nice guy. We hit it off. We had a little success with that filly as a 2-year-old. So he had 2 others to come in this year. They're raised at Joe and Karen Houdon's. And he asked me if I was interested. So I went out there, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago and looked at them. And I bought half of I'm a Doll, and I'm really glad I did. I like training fillies. I find myself and my crew are pretty easy going. So, you know, the fillies aren't going to take any abuse, and I find that they like to be trained a lot, but not hard. So that's kind of been my philosophy. You know, I might be a richer man if I train colts, but I do like training fillies. Well, I mean, Tyler's hot as anything. He's, you know, you're almost getting lucky where you can get him at a B track now, because he's becoming quickly a Mohawk driver. But he knows the filly really well. He knows Clinton really well. You know, I have all the confidence in the world. And I'm a doll on a half-mile track. She's got a lot of parts that I think make her a good horse on that. She can leave like a runner. She showed that in Clinton. She gets around the turns super. It's not to say she isn't good at Mohawks. You know, she's good from probably a better horse from off the pace, but she's really got some strong cards to play on a half-mile track.
Well, I'm a Doll is going to be a major player here in the Kin Pace for John Pentland. He talks about his success with fillies. Quite the list that he has on his resume. Talking about some lists, some numbers. Let's check out the Kin Pace by the numbers. And you see right there, 3 is the most victories. Trevor Henry and Doug McNair. McNair in the race this year. Not in it is Trevor Henry, so Doug could push ahead. 14 is the number of additions. Just 1 year it wasn't held since it got rolling. And there's a look at the stakes record. I think it might be tough to beat that record here today, Robert. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, last year, you know, Velvet Singer equaled that record, and it was a huge performance by her. You never know, but I think that today, given the conditions and everything, I don't think we're going to see that beat.
You just need someone really to probably set it up, right? And I'm not sure that's the way this race is going to play out, especially when you've got some of the top contenders towards the inside. I don't see those hot early fractions, but hey, you do never know. So we're getting set for the Kin Pace, the 2023 edition. And let's take a look at how we got here. A field of 8. We had 2 eliminations last week. Let's go back and take a peek.
Nothing doing for Bala yet. Popping the pocket early. That's Steady As We Go. They're once around the track and they're halfway back in 1:28-1. Getting Euchred has company. Steady As We Go is advancing on the outside. Racing in third, Treasures Watching. Bala is fourth. Down the stretch they come, Getting Euchred and Steady As We Go in a stretch duel here. Steady As We Go, Getting Euchred is hanging on. Getting Euchred, coast to coast in race number 6. Large and in charge, they're once around the track and they're halfway back. Get ready to say zoom, 1:26-4. They are motoring. I'm a Doll, the leader. Shaka's had the trip of a lifetime. Will look to tip out as they turn down the lane. I'm a Doll. Shaka's got a shot. I'm a Doll and Shaka duking it out here. I'm a Doll. I'm a Doll will not be denied. Up the lane for second was Deadly Delight.
All right, there was a look at last week's eliminations to determine the field for today's final. Getting Euchred took the first elimination. Let's first start with that race there, Robert, and how you saw it play out. This one going coast to coast, once clearing to command.
Yeah, it was impressive. Obviously, you know, the fields were kind of short, right? So there wasn't a heavy amount of action in that race. But the thing about Getting Euchred is, right, she's got the most wins of anyone in the field. 8 lifetime victories and a real nice little all bets off filly. So, I mean, I think she is the main challenger right now, taking the support in the Osborne too, Mark, 4-5.
Yeah, I was expecting I'm a Doll to be the favorite, and that may obviously change, but some early money, and sometimes that early money does a lot of talking. How about in the other elimination, I'm a Doll? We heard from John Pentland. He's a big fan of this Control the Moment filly, and again, another coast-to-coast winner, and really did nothing wrong. How can you knock her?
No, and it hasn't done anything wrong as of late either. And he had mentioned, you know, the treble trips last season. I went back and watched some of those. It was racing from way off the pace, and so many of those efforts to have no chance. Certainly has changed her strategy this season. She now goes to the front more often than not and has been doing good things on the engine. Deadly Delight in there, though, finished second to her. Was kind of the wise guy horse, Mark. A lot of guys were saying that that horse was loaded with pace. Unfortunately, Kyler Moore won't be aboard now, but Anthony Hahn picks up the steer.
Well, you kind of answered my next question there, and that was going to be who was the horse of not the winners that maybe stood out the most? Who was a couple that caught your eye?
Yeah, well, I would say Deadly Delight. I mean, pace late. I mean, obviously, again, getting into the final was the main thing. I don't think that she was ever going to get to Imadal, no matter what the circumstances were on that occasion, but now gets a bit of a post edge on that one, drawing inside with the post 2. And I think that definitely one that, worth a look at 30-1 right now. Definitely one you're going to have in your exotics.
Anthony Hahn will do the driving as mentioned, with Tyler Moore now off that drive following the spill in race number 9. From the second tier, number 8 is Bala. Doug McNair, again, we talked about his success in this race. He's had some success today. It's a second tier starting spot, and I always think with a driver like Doug, he's one that you think of being very aggressive, can get them off the gate. But when you've got to now maneuver from the second tier, probably doesn't get enough credit for the way he can work out trips.
No, he doesn't, and you know what? He doesn't give up any positions. We know that, right? So starting from the second tier, it's going to probably prove positive for him and for Bala. I think she's going to be very close to whatever horse she's going to follow out of there. She doesn't have to follow the one, but I think he'll probably be spotted behind the one he thinks is going to blast off the wings of the gate, and in the right spot, she's in with a chance. You can't count out Doug McNair. Again, he would push ahead of Trevor Henry for the most wins in this race, and I know a lot of people were pretty excited that he was going to be aboard this one, and the decent draw with the trailing post.
The rail starter who you're taking a look at right now, that is Dakota Shadow. We heard from James McDonald earlier. You pick up drives. If you're a driver like James McDonald, you're always going to find yourself in a race like this if you're going to be here on a day like today. Nice to have one that has the rail, one that 16-1 right now would probably be a bit of a surprise if it did get the job done, but one that I'm still expecting to be a player.
Yeah, the funny thing is, Mark, is that after the race, let's say Dakota Shadow wins, double digits on the board.
Yeah.
What's everyone going to say? How do you let James McDonald go off at that kind of a price, right? We say it all the time at Mohawk Park. This might be a tougher task. Only 4 lifetime starts, still a maiden, not even hitting the top 2, but rail control, J-Mac, there's a lot of things to like about Dakota Shadow, especially if you're going to be using her in the trifecta or that super high 5.
Well, you're getting a good look at the horses as they're exiting the paddock. There's Imadal, Tyler Borth, John Pentland having some final words as they get set to go. Our man Fraz is always getting those great shots in the paddock for all of our COSA-TV broadcasts, and he's giving you a look at the contenders for the Kin Pace up close and personal. So a bit of a staggered post parade, so we'll have some time to meet the field. They're stepping out onto the track right now. It is time to introduce the starters for the 2023 Kin Pace. $48,900 is on the line. Number 1, Dakota Shadow, a shadow play filly. Desiree Jones is having a breakout season. She's the trainer. James McDonald to drive, was 4th in the elimination. 0 for 4, just 4 lifetime starts.
Next up, we're going to see the 2, Deadly Delight, who is a 3-year-old daughter of Better's Delight. Driver will now be Anthony Hahn, picking up the steer. Rick Zeron is the trainer for Hut Racing. 0 for 8 so far in her career. 3 on the board finishes, but has been racing well as of late. Second last time to Imadal. Did finish with pace, and many people are jumping on her bandwagon.
Imadal will be the next contender that we do meet. Starts from post 3. Tyler Borth goes from being on a long shot last year to driving what could be the favorite, currently the second choice. This is a daughter of Control the Moment. John Pentland has so much success with the fillies. You think about the great victories he's had already with Cheesy Smile. Stablemate Imadal looking to double up after her elimination score of 157-1. She's 3 for 8 on the season.
Next up, we have Getting Euchred, who is a 3-year-old daughter of All Bets Off. Travis Henry will be aboard. He was aboard last week in the elimination where they went coast to coast on the engine at 8-5. Right now, taking the support at 3-5 favoritism. That's a bit of a surprise, I'm sure, for many. Trained by Brent Ballore, 8 lifetime victories, over 45,000 made. She'll likely be trying to move forward off the gate.
Number 5 is Treasures Watching, one of 3 horses in this field that's yet to win a race. Was 3rd in her elimination. Daughter of He's Watching, races for trainer Eric Wilson. Bob McClure does do the driving. Hasn't really been in the mix too much, but will try to find a way to upset here this afternoon, this daughter of He's Watching.
Next up is the 6 Chaka, driven by Brett McDonald from Renee Dion. 3 wins lifetime, over 35,000 made, was a blowout winner. 2 starts back at Hanover in the Prospect Series. Last time sat the 2-hole trip to Imadal, did lose a position in the stretch, but has hit the board in 3 of her last 4. Will have a difficult task of starting from post 6, 70-1 on the board right now.
number 7 is Steady As We Go. We learned a little bit more about this All Bets Off filly a little while back in the broadcast. Trainer Britt Kennedy, she just loves this filly and is hoping that they can find a way from the far outside to make something happen. She gave a lot of credit to the usual driver, Garrett Rooney, who's done a nice job in recent weeks. It's been a bit of a carousel. Jonathan Drury drives here today, 3 for 7 on the season, 2 for 5 last year. We'll see if Steady As We Go can strike from the outside.
And with the trailing post will be number 8, Bala, 3-year-old daughter, a sports writer. Doug McNair will be aboard. He is tied with Trevor Henry for the most wins in the Kin Pace. Trained by Peter Brickman, 3 lifetime victories, nearly $60,000 in earnings. And if anyone can get her into a good position off the gate, it will be driver Doug McNair.
All right, there's the field for the 2023 Kin Pace. Ontario sired 3-year-old pacing fillies racing for a purse of $48,900. We've met the group of 8. They will score out and get set to be called in just a couple of minutes as we're nearly set for our main event on this Sunday afternoon on COSA-TV. Once again, we thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Your final opportunity to get in on our contest giveaway is right now. Make sure you leave a comment. Let's hear it. Who do you think is going to win the Kin Pace? I know Andy Carnegie is all over I'm a Doll, noting that one, just such a beautiful looking pacer out on the track. Well, part of our broadcast today has been Tony Elliott, and I can see Tony getting set to enjoy the feature race each and every year here at Clinton. Tony, we're going to provide our final thoughts in a second and give out our selections, but we'll give you first crack at it. What do you think of this year's contest, and who's your pick?
I think he's going to have a...
All right, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulty there bringing in Tony. I can tell you, though, he's going with I'm a Doll, 3-2 right now. Tyler Borth, we heard him catch up with him there earlier, and I know Tyler's pretty pumped up for this drive. He's racing almost each and every night right now at Woodbine Mohawk Park. He's had a great transition to the big circuit, but still putting in the work. Sunday's racing at Clinton, making the doubleheader over to Georgian. Looks to be rewarded here today. Robert, who do you like here? Maybe give us a couple to watch.
You know what, for me, it's I'm a Doll, and I can't believe the price right now, right? I mean, we thought that we'd see this one, well, right now dropping down to 1 to 5 odds, actually. So I'm a Doll is taking all that late support as expected. For me, though, Mark, you know what? I'd be looking for Deadly Delight, right? That's the horse that I had many tell me that they were kind of fond of in here. I watched the replay multiple times. Did see that little bit of pace on the end of that mile there. Anthony Hahn now will be aboard. He's been having success recently at Grand River, Georgian Downs, those types of places. So I'm more than happy to try the 3-2 here, but I'm a Doll for me.
Well, it's going to be a clean sweep of us on this broadcast. I, too, am going with I'm a Doll for all those reasons that you've mentioned right there. I thought she was super impressive in her elimination. And I look at races like this at some of the smaller tracks in Ontario as opportunities for drivers and trainers to really break out. John Pentland's obviously well established over the years, but a driver like Tyler Borth, he's making a lot of noise right now, and I think a day like today is where he comes through and continues to show why he is on that path to continue climbing the ranks here in the province. He's been dominant. He leads the country and wins this season, so I'm going to back I'm a Doll. You saw it on the screen a moment ago. We want to know who you like, and we've got some picks coming in right now. Cassandra Morrissey is going to go with I'm a Doll. How about Dave Erickson? He's backing James McDonald and Dakota Shadow from the rail. Brian Gibb is chiming in as well, and also providing us selections, Lori Lynn, Steady As We Go from the outside. So some spread out selections here. It's going to be a good one. It is the 2023 Kin Pace. All right, the starting gate begins to move into position. Robert is going to be catching up with the winning connections in about 2 minutes and 20 seconds time. So the gate's in position. Tim O'Connor standing by to call the signature race each and every season here at Clinton Raceway. It is the Kin Pace.
Getting Euchred, Travis Henry, Treasures Watching, Bob McClure, Shaka, Brett McDonald. Steady As We Go, Jonathan Drury. From the second tier, Bala and Doug McNair. Who will win the Kin? It's post time. The field for the 2023 Kin Pace Final. Turn into the lane. Here they come. And away they go. I'm a Doll, as expected, out fastest of all to grab the early lead. Getting Euchred will look to tuck into the 2-hole. Also advancing in the early going is Shaka. Shaka now drops off, will settle into 3rd position as I'm a Doll puts on the brakes and leads them down the backside. 4th up on the outside is Deadly Delight, finding a seat in front of Dakota Shadow. Then we're back to Steady As We Go. Bala, the early trailer, is Treasures Watching. 8 in a line, making good time. They roll by the opening quarter, 28-3. Around the Red Barn turn, I'm a Doll will cut out the mile for Tyler Borth. Getting Euchred sits in the pocket in 2nd. Racing in 3rd, that is Shaka. Deadly Delight is 4th. A little bit of action here from the back of the pack as they come by us for the first time. Up and advancing on the outside is Bala. Following that one is Treasures Watching. The back duo, Dakota Shadow and Steady As We Go. They roll by the opening half, 58-3. Leisurely fractions here for your leader, I'm a Doll. Company is coming, however, up on the outside. Advancing is Deadly Delight and Anthony Hahn knocking on the door. Along the inside, Getting Euchred retakes 2nd. 4th is Shaka. 2nd over Journey for Bala. That one advances. We've got 4 in and 4 out now. The pace quickens as they roll by the 3/4. Once around the track and halfway back, 128-2. The one to catch is still I'm a Doll. On the outside, Deadly Delight still coming. Looking for a seam late will be Getting Euchred from far back. Steady As We Go is flying. Down the stretch they come. I'm a Doll. Lets it out a notch, is coming on. I'm a Doll on cruise control in the Kin final. Getting Euchred was 2nd best. Looked like Steady As We Go up for the show.
Well, there you have it. I'm a Doll, and no doubt about it, winner in the 2023 Kin Pace. Very simple approach for driver Tyler Borth. Go to the front and never look back. And as Tim O'Connor said, let it out a notch coming to the wire as she does draw clear for a convincing and dominant victory in the Kin Pace. Tyler Borth just sitting chilly there in the bike. It ends up being a victory of probably 3.5, 4 lengths. And we'll take a nice slow motion look at the horses coming down to the wire. But sometimes in races like these, you get some surprise upsets. You get some thrills in the form of some long shots upsetting. But in this case, sometimes the best horse just does prevail. And that is the case as I'm a Doll is the winner with some long and strong looking strides coming right through the wire as the Clinton Raceway faithful crowd the rail and watch her just dominate. So didn't have to establish any sort of speed records, did I'm a Doll. 158 flat, just the way things play out this year in the Kin Pace. And for I'm a Doll, that's going to be her 4th win in 9 starts this season. That's career win number 5. Gets the winner's share of a purse that was just $100 shy of $49,000. So that's going to boost the seasonal earnings significantly. In fact, they're going to go up over now $59,000. So the career earnings jumping, and she'll approach 6 figures. And doesn't even look like she really broke a sweat as Tyler Borth brings her back in front of the grandstand and heads towards the winner's circle. So the folks here at Clinton Raceway, the fans in attendance, providing a round of applause for I'm a Doll. And this Control the Moment filly will be fun to track. See where she goes forward next. We saw her in the grassroots 2 starts back coming into today. A 152 and 1 mile she turned in, came up a head short to Mending Fences. Mending Fences turned in a big performance last night, winning at Woodbine Mohawk Park. So if you like linking those together, horses that won or just got beat by another and what they go on to do, looks like the future is certainly bright for I'm a Doll. So in the winner's circle, a big group joining I'm a Doll as she is owned by Alan Bowden, Sherry Sumner, and John Pentland. Pentland, the winning trainer. Tyler Borth, the winning driver. And the crew here at Clinton Raceway. Ian Fleming leading the charge. They just do a wonderful job And I'm sure they'll be really happy with today's not just performance by Amadal, but overall the entire day here. You couldn't ask for a much better day when it came to the weather, and a really good crowd turning out for their signature event each and every racing season. All right, Robert Reed Jr. is standing by in the winner's circle, and in just a moment we will go to him as he'll catch up with the winning connections. Before we do that, let's check out the payouts. The 3 Amadal returns $250, $220, $210. 4 Getting Euchred was second, pays $280, $210. And the 7, which was Steady As We Go, was rallying late, ended up grabbing third, and returned $6 to show. The Exacta, very formful with the elimination winners 1-2, pays $6.80. That $1 try, $34.95. Jackpot, not Jackpot High Five, just High Five wagering in that finale returns over $1,000 for a $1 winning ticket. And there was the late double, paying $350. So a formful afternoon here on COSA TV. Let's go to Robert Reed Jr. He's standing by in the winner's circle.
Can hear what?
We're in the winner's circle here with Tyler Borth, winning driver of the Kin Pace aboard Amadal. Before the car, Tyler, you were talking about this horse and just saying how much you adored her. Tell me more about this feeling, her performance today.
Yeah, I mean, she had the 3-hole there, and like she's so good, I just timed her into the gate a little bit and then just asked her just a little bit and let her pace out, and she was on front 2 strides and controlled the race, and yeah, that was like a training mile for her.
Yeah, when the half clicked up, you had to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried.
And, you know, you were telling me earlier about the miles that you've been logging. Obviously, right, you've been driving, you know, on the Bs over the last few years, and career season last year. You're going to probably top that again this year. Now doing double duty at Mohawk Park as well. What was the mile count you told me?
Yeah, from Saturday morning to Sunday night when I got home, I drove 1,048 kilometers.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. And you know, for yourself with, you know, now making that transition, or, you know, you've been driving at Mohawk Park on a regular basis. I mean, is there a point in time where you're going to make that leap full time?
I'm actually there full time right now. So it's been going good. I've been picking up a lot of drives. So hope I stay healthy and keep getting drives there, and we'll see where it goes.
But we'll still see you on the Bs when you're available?
Yeah, I'm 7 days a week, so you'll see me wherever they're racing.
All right, there you go. Tyler Borth, winning driver, Amadal, Kin Pace champion. Let's talk to John Pentland now, trainer of Amadal. And, you know, I know that you had mentioned, John, that last season a lot of tough luck trips for Amadal.
Yeah, she did. Things just didn't work out. You know, we tried racing her from off the pace, and she was good from off the pace, but, you know, we'd get mixed up in races that slow fractions, and, you know, she'd finish up strong, but just not get the job done.
All right, is that the maturity, I mean, you know, from 2 to 3 that, you know, you were able to maybe switch up her racing style to now being a front ender? I mean, she's been a killer on the engine.
Well, it might be my maturity that I put up a guy that likes to drive a little more aggressive this year, so it's working out for both me and Tyler's.
All right, fantastic. And, you know, we always talk about horses like this. I mean, she's obviously been racing well in the grassroots. Now she's a Kin Pace champion. Is she one that might dabble into the golds?
You know, she would have. Unfortunately, the grassroots semifinals and finals conflict with the last gold, and the last gold's in London, and so that kind of sucks, because I think she'd be competitive in that. But I think we'll probably stick with the grassroots. I don't think she's a cheesy smile, but she's a hell of a filly though.
All right, well, there you have it. I know both these guys are fond of Amadal. So was the wagering public today, and big performance for her in the Kin Pace champion. Congrats to Tyler Borth and John Pent. Let's see the trophy there. There it is. Beautiful trophy there for the Kin Pace.
All right, thank you very much, Robert, and congratulations on the winning connections. Amadal takes the Kin Pace, driver Tyler Borth and trainer John Pentland. That's going to wrap things up here from Clinton Raceway. Another fun afternoon here on COSA TV. We now look ahead to what's coming up next, and at the end of the month, we're making the trip to Hanover Raceway. It's always a fun night there for the Dream of Glory. Ontario sired 3-year-old trotters, they will be in the spotlight. After that, on the Civic Holiday Monday, we will be in Elora at Grand River Raceway for the Battle of Waterloo, and then we'll continue throughout the summer and into the fall with great racing action from across the province. Well, that's going to do it for another great afternoon here on COSA TV. I'm Adal, as your 2023 champion of the Kin Pace. For the entire crew behind the scenes, for Robert Reed Jr. and Tony Elliott, my name is Mark McKelvey, wishing you a good Sunday afternoon, and we'll see you next time on COSA TV.